to the floor, right? Wins this battle. That's Sophie Cunningham. Wow, I thought Van Loo grabbed her by the neck. Sophie, thankfully and fortunately, let that one go. They both got up smiling.
Sophie Cunningham broke her silence following the Indiana Fever's most controversial and heartbreaking loss of the season, and her 6 chilling words said it all. After a brutal 89-87 defeat to the struggling Los Angeles Sparks the second time the Fever have lost to the WNBA's worst team, Sophie responded, not with rage, but with a calm, unsettling smile and a laugh. She had just been grabbed around the neck with no foul called, and yet her reaction wasn't outrage, it was eerie composure. What she said after the game changed the way everyone sees this team's grit. We have a fun group. We have a goofy group, but sometimes you kinda need to get pissed off a little bit and dial in. I think that's what you saw today. Just days before, the Fever were riding a wave of success, having defeated 3 of the league's top teams in a row. They beat Paige Buchers and the Dallas Wings in a statement win, then crushed the Minnesota Lynx to capture their first-ever Commissioner's Cup championship. The cherry on top came when they completely dominated A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces, a performance so electric, it had analysts and fans whispering about Indiana's championship potential. And all of this happened without Caitlin Clark, who had missed her 10th game of the season due to a lingering groin injury. Her absence was instantly felt. Without Clark's vision, pace, and playmaking, the Fever's offense lacked its usual rhythm. Their ball movement slowed, their chemistry faltered. And star center Aliyah Boston wasn't getting the paint touches she thrives on. Clark's return would have been ideal in the second half of this game, especially to inject some playmaking into a sluggish offense, but pushing her to play when not fully healed was a risk they couldn't take. The last time she returned early, she overcompensated for her injury and ended up sidelined even longer. So resting her even against a weak opponent like the Sparks was the right decision. Still, this was supposed to be an easy win. ESPN gave Indiana a 72.9% chance to win. Vegas had them as 6.5-point favorites. The Sparks came in with a miserable 5-13 record. Even with Clark out, Dirk Stantis playing overseas in FIBA competition, and Dana Bonner having quit the team entirely, the FIBA were expected to get the job done. Instead, Indiana collapsed in the final moments. They were up by 6 with 5 minutes to go, still up by 4 with 1:43 left, and yet they blew it. The final score, 89-87, tells the story. The Fever missed their last 5 shots, including 4 in the final minute. What had been a team soaring with championship dreams suddenly looked fragile and exposed, without their generational rookie leading the charge. But the heartbreak didn't end with the scoreboard. The controversy that unfolded during and after the game left fans and players seething. The officiating was inconsistent, sloppy, and at times outright dangerous. The game spiraled out of control in the second half, and Coach Stephanie White made it crystal clear in her post-game press conference with 4 simple but powerful words. We didn't get the calls. There were multiple moments that highlighted how officiating skewed against Indiana. Sophie Cunningham got grabbed around the neck during a loose ball by Julie Van Loo. Excessive contact that deserved an immediate foul call. It happened right in front of the officials. No whistle. Instead, Sophie stood up with a smile, clearly knowing no one was going to protect her. It wasn't a laugh of amusement, it was disbelief. The refs didn't call a thing. The moment painted a damning picture of the WNBA's inconsistent enforcement of basic player safety, while refs ignored real fouls. They reviewed clean defensive plays endlessly. Sydney Colson made a textbook block that was incorrectly called a foul, leading to a lengthy review that finally overturned the call. But actual fouls, like the one against Sophie, went uncalled. Then there was Aliyah Boston, who has been getting whistled for phantom fouls all season long. Despite being the most dominant center in the league, Boston constantly finds herself in foul trouble from questionable calls, while players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart get touch fouls in their favor. Caitlin Clark has rarely, if ever, been granted those soft whistles. Either she takes hit after hit with barely any ref protection. During the final minutes, when every possession counted, calls continued going against the Fever. Sophie Cunningham was again involved in physical plays with no protection from refs. One call in particular enraged fans. Officials labeled a clear neck grab as a jump ball. Then on the next play, Sophie was thrown down with no whistle. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston picked up fouls without even making contact. This kind of officiating isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. The double standard was on full display, and it reeked of bias. It wasn't just Boston who suffered. Lexi Hull got blatantly elbowed by Kelsey Plum, who then stepped over her to keep her pinned to the ground. No call. Ref stood right there. Nothing. Then there was McDonald, who spent the entire game in foul trouble due to back-to-back whistles on clean plays. These weren't judgment calls, they were obvious mistakes. And in the fourth quarter, with the game hanging in the balance, refs even called a phantom foul away from the ball just to put the Sparks on the line. Kelsey Plum, again, got the benefit of the doubt when driving through contact. But when Boston took a hard slap across the face on a drive, the officials waved it off and called it out of bounds instead of a foul. The imbalance was staggering. The referees spent more time reviewing blocks than actually protecting players from dangerous plays. Even with all this chaos, 3 Indiana players fought with everything they had to keep the team alive. Aaliyah Boston put up a monster performance with 23 points and 12 rebounds, shooting 9 of 17 from the field and 5 of 7 from the line. She dominated the paint, grabbed crucial boards, and gave the Fever second chances. But her efforts were overshadowed by questionable whistles and missed calls. The frustration on her face said it all. She gave everything and still saw the game slip away. Kelsey Mitchell added 19 points and shot 3 of 6 from three-point range, knocking down clutch buckets whenever the team needed a spark. This was Mitchell's 251st game with the Fever, placing her second all-time in franchise history behind Tamika Catchings, testament to her consistency and leadership during this turbulent time. But even with Boston and Mitchell leading the charge, the combination of poor officiating, missing personnel, and an unexpected collapse cost the Fever a game they were supposed to win. The officiating was more than bad, it was a disservice to the players on both sides. It wasn't just missed calls or questionable judgment. It was a pattern that endangered player safety and damaged the integrity of the game. And through it all, Sophie Cunningham's smile stood out. It wasn't joy, it was the look of a player who understood that sometimes you've got to get pissed off before you get even.